Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stelezzi and I got some important stuff to share with you today. So, you might be looking at the screen right now wondering what I got here. Notice this. This is basically a early version of the upcoming Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition Age of the World mod update, Mounds and Mountains. Yeah, you've heard about it on the Discord for a while now about its release. And with the trailer of the Knights of St. John coming out yesterday, I got some early access to it to show you some stuff and get you hyped up for it, so let's do that. Before we begin, I'd like to basically go over how significant the Civ is to me. Honestly, I was looking at it and I was like, they went into really good detail with this Civ. Like, I heard many months ago that poll they had on Kato's server about whether they wanted the current multi-civ to be replaced with the Wars of Liberty one pretty much, or they wanted like a new civ like Knights of St. John to have the multis mechanics from Wars of Liberty. So seeing this new Knights of St. John civ that I'm going to go over with you today is actually really nice. Yeah. We're going to go over basically everything today, you know, cards, units, do a gameplay or two. I want to go over everything with you today, so you'll be ready for this thing. So, you'll see here in the home city, this is, yes, the original home city view from the campaign, right? And the same one that was used, of course, in the Wars of Liberty multi-civilization. So yeah, they kept that consistent. Let's go over the cards first before we actually do any sort of unit or gameplay stuff. So, I'll start off over here in Home City and just go over all the cards with you. And then we might even be able to make a deck as well that we can do in a game later. Yeah, I want to go over all the cards so you can see how well they did with this Civ. Alright, so we'll start, I guess, age by age. You know. So, okay, this is age 1. Alright, so I'll go left to right. I won't go over anything boring, of course, but if I see anything that pops up, I'll bring it up to your attention. So, we got settlers over here, nothing too special, crates. Now, this card over here, the Tribute of the Maltese Falcon. This is actually a card you see in the Wars of Liberty Maltese civilization. Chests of coin now also deliver falcons, which are good at exploring and slowly trickle coin. This is the exact same effect of the card in Wars of Liberty's multi-civ. You basically got these birds, these Maltese falcons that you would get with each coin card that you send. And the birds would not only scout the map for you, but they would also trickle coin as long as they are alive. Now, one thing I hope with this feature is, I hope nobody can kill those birds, because, you know, if it's gonna get sniped by somebody's explorer within like 5 seconds of the match, that's a little concerning. But if it can stay immune like a hot air balloon, yeah, I'm all for it, you know. I think that could actually be a pretty good early investment card to use then. So now we got the sheep card, nothing special about that. Grand Master, so this is actually another card we get from Wars of Liberty, Grand Master, only now the icon has a bigger feature of Morgan Black in it, since he is the hero or the explorer of the Civ. Improves Morgan Black in combat, unlocks the Oberhaus ability for him, and gives him a powerful canine companion. So, I think the Grand Master for the Wars of Liberty actually, instead of giving him a super powerful sword attack, allowed him to construct walls. Yeah, because remember, Malta is a very defensive civilization in Wars of Liberty. Let's see what's to the right of him. Raised defenses. Central strongholds become able to benefit from outpost upgrades, and Morgan Black is able to build walls. So basically they move what used to be under the Grand Master in Wars of Liberty and they made it into sort of its own card here with an added effect for the outposts. This is pretty interesting, and you know, I feel like as long as you're keeping Morgan alive, you could probably task him to do the wall work while the villagers are, you know, doing their gathering work. A very defensive feature, to say the least. Then we get a bunch of old stuff here, like hot air balloons, native lore, cheap barracks. Yeah, this is actually a card that I think, yeah, originally from Spain in the vanilla game that Malta also had in Wars of Liberty, so it's good that they share that as well. Advanced trading posts, town militia, pioneers. Now this card here, Great Siege, improves the resistance of your walls against siege attacks. This is another Wars of Liberty Malta card right here. Has the exact same effect. It gives an armor value to your walls, making them more immune to, say, cannonballs, grenades, that sort of thing, like crush damage. Pretty neat that there's so many Wars of Liberty references already in Age 1. I wonder how many we're going to run into after this. Advanced Mill, Advanced Market, Advanced Estate, Advanced Dock, Capitalism, Schooners, Fish Market, Wood. Now, I'm trying to remember, did they get distributivism in Wars of Liberty? I don't think they did, so this is actually pretty cool. This means Malta or Knights of St. John in Age of the World is actually going to have 2 trickle cards at their disposal, which is probably going to be sort of play into that defensive style of theirs from Wars of Liberty, you know? You're going to be able to get a wood trickle probably first, and then you can add capitalism afterwards. And I wonder on like big trading post maps like the Can, if you could do some greedy sort of like Age 1 4-card strategy like I did with Bolivia a long time ago in Wars of Liberty. That could be pretty cool, you know? You get your 3 settlers, get wood trickle, coin trickle, and then Maltese Falcon. And that way all your coin shipments become like really great shipments to get you all these additional coin trickles, and then it helps you through the rest of the game. That could be pretty nice. But beyond that, just a bunch of Ironmonger, Furier, Eco Theory, all the standard cards. Now, this over here, Luzos, gathers food from fish or coins from whales, gathers faster when grouped. I thought this was pretty interesting when Kados basically wrote up a couple paragraphs about the Civ when he was giving us the files for this. So basically, if you build a bunch of these ships, I imagine you can get a really good fish boom going with the Malta Civ. Now, in the Wars of Liberty Civ, they didn't really have any real unique ships, I think. I think the only knowable thing for them was maybe galleys, similar to the Ottomans and the Italians. Yeah, that's about it. The fact that they get their own unique fishing ship and that it's actually really powerful, that's a nice little add-on touch that Wars of Liberty didn't even add to it. And to the right of that, we get this card called Degazsaz. Interesting. A colorful painting of the traditional Maltese boats distracts the crew of nearby fishing ships, slightly reducing their gather rates. Huh, that's actually kind of a useful ability, because I can imagine, well, I know from experience, when you're like using fishing ships in the water, once you start getting away from home, you're probably going to be sharing a lot of the fish and whales with your enemies for a while, until of course somebody rolls up their warship and starts blasting cannonballs into them. I think in this situation, if you're trying to steal all the fish before your opponent can get the fish, you could pretty much deny them a lot of food economy doing that, if you of course want to stack up a lot of these boats. That could be something useful. And you know, maybe Malta is now a naval civilization in a sense, at least economically. I mean, you can combine this with like schooners, which they have up, where did we see schooners? It was somewhere over here. Yep, schooners, yeah. So basically get schooners, start spamming these Luzos out, and then get this, and then basically you become a hegemon on the water. Pretty useful, you know, pretty useful. And then, of course, coastal defense. I think a lot of people get that. A lot of civs get that in both vanilla and in other mods. Alright, so Age 2 now. Villagers, nothing's too different. Crates, moo-moos, ransomers. the first Wars of Liberty unit reference. Remember the Ranswers? They were like a really tough pikeman unit in Wars of Liberty. They had actually extra multipliers of like 6. So what did they hear? It says a heavy pikeman type infantry that is better against other units than a regular pikeman, but slightly less strong against cavalry. So basically they did the inverse of Wars of Liberty. In Wars of Liberty, you know, its attack was like that of a pikeman, but its multipliers were really tough, like Swiss pikeman level or stronger. But here, they sound more like halberdiers almost, right? More of that more generic high attack and more of a slight multiplier against cav. I still think they're going to be great against hussars and stuff, but I think you could probably spam these things out against infantry as well, especially cannons, skirmishers. If they're not kiting properly, not defending properly, you might be able to swarm them with these things, and that could be pretty useful. And now we got the next unit, the Arbalester, stronger version of the crossbowman that fires 2 bolts in quick succession. So it fires 2 shots instead of 1, so it's almost like a Chukonu, only it's 2 shots. It kind of sounds like the old design for the Carbonire, nation-state Carbonire in Wars of Liberty. Yeah. But, as you know from Wars of Liberty's multiciv, they basically had theirs set up where they had really high multipliers. I think, wasn't it like multipliers of like 4x or 5x against heavy infantry? It was like something really insane. So here it sounds like they're more or less closer to actual crossbowmen with just a bit of a quicker attack, it looks like. Interesting, you know, these are 2 Wars of Liberty infantry units we're familiar with, just with different roles. Slightly different roles, you know. Ranswer is of course going to kill cav, Barbalest is still going to kill heavy infantry, but yeah, it's a bit different. And just so you know, the only reason you're seeing these ordinary European icons here is because the person who's supposed to do the card icons hasn't completed them yet, so eventually you'll see like unique unit icons for these when the patch actually does release. Just thought I'd bring that up. Bowman, skirmisher like archer, good against infantry. Huh, so this is supposed to basically be a copy of the Maltese longbowman from Wars of Liberty. Remember the difference between the longbowman and the Arbalester in Wars of Liberty. The Arbalester was good against heavy infantry to be similar to the Age of Empires 2 crossbowman archer line, right? Because the Wars of Liberty multi-civilization was meant to be an Age of Empires 2 style civ, where all the unit roles were basically equated to that of AoE 2. Seems like here, as we're going through the list, it's like these units are more or less similar to AoE 3, right? Not as much deviation towards AoE 2, but the units themselves, pretty much the same. Like, you get your bowman, you get your arbalester, you get your ransor, you get your swordsman. That's sort of the theme I'm getting here, but it seems more Age of Empires 3 friendly stats. Yep. And it seems like what they did here was, this is still a crossbowman, and then the longbowman or archer is more or less an actual, like, skirmisher. So I wonder what the multipliers will look like on paper. Will this just be like the usual 1.25 against heavy infantry, and this will have, like, 2x against heavy infantry? It seems more likely the case. I haven't looked at the units yet. We'll get to that part next, and we'll see firsthand how that looks. And now we got this here, 3 footmen, heavy swordsman with the sweep attack. Good all around, and especially against building. So, this is where I'm wondering. I haven't seen the unit yet. Is this basically the same as the footmen from Wars of Liberty? Is it the long swordsman, or is it a sort of a combination between the two, right? Because I didn't hear a difference when I read Cato's description of the units here. If they were going to be, you know, if they were going to get... I didn't see anything about a long swordsman, so I'm wondering if he, like, took the 2 roles between the footman, which was the sword and shield unit, and the longsword, which of course is the 2-handed sword unit, put their roles together into one unit. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. So we'll have to see that when we're playing in a little bit, how those actually perform, right, and what role they're going to have. So this card next here, this card, military engineering. Your footmen become able to build military training buildings. Okay, so if you never played Wars of Liberty's multi-civ before, this is another Easter egg to Wars of Liberty. This card here had the exact same effect. The footman, which in Wars of Liberty was a sword and shield unit you got from the barracks, was basically able to build anything resembling a military building. It could build the barracks, the stable, the artillery foundry. It was also able to build saloons. And it could also build forts. So I'm wondering, does this mean that the footmen in Age of the World are going to be able to build forts and saloons as well as the standard military buildings? Because if that's the case, this is a pretty good similarity to that of Wars of Liberty, and I'm actually pretty excited to try them out, because I feel like, yeah, this is going to be a really good offensive civilization that can sort of castle drop on anyone with the fort and just start spamming out units, right? So that's something to look out for. And now we're moving on to these upgrade cards. Swordsman attack. Swordman and Knight attack increase. A little bit different from Wars of Liberty there, but sort of the same sort of upgrades affecting the footmen. In Wars of Liberty, of course, the cards affected the longsword and the footmen since they were the dismounted sword units. But here, since we don't have two separate sword infantry, I guess they threw the Knight in there. And it's good to see that the Knight is making a return to this Knights of St. John civ as well. Because this is looking more and more like the Wars of Liberty Malta people have been missing for years. Now, I don't think they're, like I'm going to keep saying it, but I don't think they're going to have the same unit roles as the Malta they remember, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be something pretty good. So we'll have to look out for that. Same thing with these hit points, affects the footman and the Knight. Engineering school. Everybody gets that just about. Native treaties. Royal decree to defend the Holy Land. Tax burden, Corselet, High Crusade. I'm trying to remember if some of these royal decrees were in Wars of Liberty or not. We'll have to go look at them when we play the game. And now we get this card here, the Pointsy Scheme. This is another Wars of Liberty card here. Trading posts are built 50% faster, and native units have their wood and gold costs reduced by 25%. I can't remember because I never used that card a lot if that's the same as Wars of Liberty, but I can imagine based on the previous references we've seen that yes, it probably is. A direct pointage to it. Certainly, and then what else we got? Frontier defenses, extensive fortifications. You need that as a defensive civ. Fencing and riding school. Gauzetan Nation reduces the cooldown of the chaplain's convertibility by 50%. Yeah, I should mention that. Basically, this Knights of St. John civ is going to have access to priests called chaplains, which gets access to the convert unit ability that you see, of course, with the Incas. So they're going to have some really good religious tricks going on here. And now we got radical reforms. Reduces the cost of church upgrades by 25%. This icon looks familiar to me. I think it's from Wars of Liberty, but I can't tell 100%. Certainly a good card because it makes all those church checks you need for training, especially cheaper. Advanced Arsenal. Just like with the Wars of Liberty multis, I'm wondering when are you going to get a lot of value out of this exactly, because your civ, of course, is not known for gunpowder units. You're using archers and swords and spears and crossbows and siege weapons. When are you ever going to see like a musketeer or skirm? Like never. So, again, I don't think you're always going to want to get that. But wait a second. I'm looking at the Advanced Arsenal here. I see reinforced arrowheads, light quivers, and chainmail. So from what I understand, Kados actually understood Yeah, I remember back to the Wars of Liberty days of how useless this card was for him because they didn't have really any gunpowder units. But here he's basically upgraded or basically changed all those gunpowder-based weapon technologies and replaced them with things for archers and swordsmen. If he did that, that's pretty good. That's really intelligent of him because now this is actually going to feel like a useful card for you to get, which I think is going to have a lot of great use. And then we also see spies, assassins, medicine, rendering plant, silversmith, ecotex, another loser shipment, a galleon, ship we've seen a lot of times, St. John's galleys. I can imagine they're pretty much the same as Ottoman galleys, but it says here heals nearby idle ships. So these are like priests on water almost. That's pretty neat because if you get out of a tough naval battle and your ships are all battered and stuff, it looks like having a mass of these things is basically going to heal up your navy without having to go back to a dock. That's pretty useful. It really is. You know, should certainly try using this Civ on some of those Age of Pirate maps, for instance, where it's mostly water and little islands. So I don't have to keep going back to the home base every time somebody blasts them with cannonballs. Improved warships. Mediterranean policing. Ships gain an attack against other warships. So ships basically get good at killing other ships. Basically their main purpose. So yeah, that's a win-win. Offshore support. Admiralty. More ships than everybody else has. That's always good. Irish Brigadiers, a good mercenary option for Age 2. Auberges. Upgrades taverns into auberges, which support 10 population and have +2 build limit. Enable Swiss pikemen and Lanech at auberges. This is another reference to Wars of Liberty again. We keep getting these Easter egg cards from the Wars of Liberty multi-civilization, one after another. This is insane. And then you also get access to the Theaters card. So, to me, I'm thinking about the combination of those two. This is going to be a decent mercenary civilization. Because, in Definitive Edition, remember, your saloons, taverns, they trickle coin. And the fact that you're going to be able to trickle that coin slightly with all these other coin-focused bonuses means I'm going to have a wide stack of different mercenaries I can use, should I need it. And you're certainly going to have a lot of good hand options here with the auberges. You know, you'll have Swiss pikes, you'll have the Lanech, and then you can add in whatever sort of gunpowder or other ones you need. That's really creative and useful. So now we get 12 pirate allies. That's a pretty good reference to the Knights of St. John campaign in the original game, of course, because they team up with Lizzie and there's lots of pirates. Yeah, that's good. And then you get their privateers, too. That's pretty nice. Now we go on to Age 3, where we get more crates, covered wagon. Of course, in DE, it adds a build limit to the town center as well, so you can get another one. That's pretty good. Sheepy. Conspiracy of the Slaves. Settlers gain a considerable powerful siege attack. This is another Wars of Liberty card reference with the exact same effect. I don't think I've ever used it before in any honest battle from Wars of Liberty, so I'm wondering if I'll use it here at all. I mean, it certainly could be useful in some situations because, you know, if you're going out on the map and you want to take over a silver mine and somebody's protecting it with a tower and their villagers, you can literally just blow up their tower with just the villagers and then kill all their villies, blind them with your blunderbuss. Probably a decent strategy. We get some more shipments of the Rancours. Polearm combat. Rancour attack and hit points increase. This is a Wars of Liberty card as well. Actually serves the same exact function. Because remember in Wars of Liberty, Malta had this combat card here that also only affected the Rancour. Now this card here, Hand Infantry Reforms. All your Rancours transform into footmen. This card also existed in Wars of Liberty, but I'm trying to remember. I think it had the... I'm trying to remember. See, I'm drawing a blank here. This is another Wars of Liberty card, but I can't remember if it turned the Rancors into Footmen or the Footmen into Rancors. And I just used the Civ like a week or two ago, so I should really know this. It definitely didn't have this icon, though. The icon in Wars of Liberty looked more like the card that Spain, of course, gets. It turns the Tercios into Espadachins. You know, instead I think it showed him dropping the sword in favor of a pike, or, yeah, something like that. It's kind of interesting, though. And then we get Infinite 10 Arbalesters, so useful card, again, a lot of crossbowmen. You, of course, can get the option of the pike with the Rancer as well. 12 Arbalesters. Steel Bolts, so this card that was introduced to Definitive Edition for the Italians and the Maltese is now going to see usage in the Knights of St. John Civ as well for the Arbalesters. That's a pretty clever use of a DE card to add more strength to the Civ. I commend that. And then, of course, we get Bowmen, or if you feel comfortable, Longbowmen, Footmen. Of course, you have to have hoop throwers in any sort of multi-civ. That's like a requirement for any sort of adherence to the campaign. So, yep, here we have the Hoopy Cats here that you can ship. Great against infantry, I can assume. Knights of Malta to throw flaming hoops at Janissaries, so they kept the original description. I'm wondering if... do they actually still get the hidden multiplier against Janissaries like they do in the campaign? That would be kind of insane if that actually remained. And somebody came up in Age 2 with the Foundry and started training these things. And then the Janissaries start getting instantly killed. That would be actually insane if he threw that in there as like a little reference. Absolutely insane. And then we get this card here, Angled Toss. Utilizing a proper throwing technique allows hoop throwers to throw their hoops slightly faster and from further away. So it basically makes them even more effective at their ability. This is not a Wars of Liberty card, I can say that for sure, so this is something totally new. So yeah, this is something totally new. But I feel like, yeah, this is going to make the hoop throwers like really effective. And they're probably going to become more of a popular range unit for players alongside their archer options. In that case, Knights, hand cavalry that slightly boosts experience gained by nearby units. Good against light infantry. So what does it do exactly? It boosts the kill bounty of nearby units. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I wonder if it has similar stats to the Wars of Liberty Knight. You remember the Wars of Liberty days in Malta? They had some really tanky knights, like 500 HP or something at the start of the game. Really good stuff, you know. It was an excellent unit. Hopefully it's the same case here once we look at the stats. And then you get, of course, the Swordsman combat in Age 3, just like you do in WoW, only now you're benefiting knights and not longswordsmen. Then you get these. The Cranaquiner, ranged cavalry carrying a crossbow, good against cavalry. See, yeah, this is sort of proof in the pudding that Kados wanted to stick to more Age of Empires 3 stats. As you know, in Wars of Liberty, the Cranaquiner was basically a clone of the cavalry archer line in AoE 2, so it had multipliers against, you know, heavy infantry, right, because it was a cav archer. Now here they act more like generic dragoons that fire bolts at them, so yeah, totally fine. I hope that they have really good stats like they did in Wars of Liberty, even though they're a counter-cav unit here instead of a counter-infantry one. Then you get Infinite 1 Falconet, a nice AoE 3D card for them to have in a pitch fight. Then they get this card here, Tutio Fadai et Obsequium Papierum. Increases chapel build limit by 2, and settlers and chaplains become cheaper. A lot of different effects at once. I think that's certainly a good Age 3 card if you can wait for it, probably. You know, I think, yeah, if I recall, isn't the Oh yeah, the chapel is the church, so yeah, that means even more XP trickle too, so that's really nice. Native warriors, a lot of people get that. Advanced frontier defenses. 3 cities. Sends a covered wagon and 2 outpost wagons. Central commandery build limit is increased by 1. So, for those who don't know, the central commandery is basically the unique Maltese town center. I forget what it does, we'll see it in game, but just thought I'd point that out. But again, this is another Wars of Liberty card with the exact same icon, 3 cities. Only the effect was somewhat different. In Wars of Liberty, what 3 cities did, I believe, was it allowed you to train barracks units from your town centers. So you could train footmen, you could train the Ransor, you could train the Arbalester, and the Longbowman from the TC. So you didn't even need the barracks to go into war, basically. But here it seems more or less it gives you access to another town center that you can use to boom up with, which, you know, I think that's a great effect, honestly, and a great Easter egg to Wars of Liberty yet again. And then, of course, we get Fort. You need to have forts. Now, the cool thing here is, unlike Wars of Liberty, thanks to the way fort cards work in DE, you get actually an improved build limit when you ship these things. So that means this Malta here, this Knight of St. John Civ, is actually going to be able to drop multiple forts down if they want to, not just one. You know, for all Malta did in Wars of Liberty, they only had 1 fort like ever. They never had a build limit improvement at all. So that's a great improvement for them here. And seeing this card here, Rising of the Priests, chaplains become able to siege buildings. So I know from the... I'm trying to remember. I think that I recall seeing this icon from Wars of Liberty in the Malta Civ, so it's another Easter egg, but I can't recall what happened exactly. So here it gives the priest like a really good siege attack against buildings. Interesting. You know, we're going to have to try that one out. I think the old card that was here did something about faith or priest hit points or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. But then, of course, you get Squires from the Definitive Edition Maltese Civilization added to the Knights of St. John. So this is kind of interesting. You get Squires, Fencing School, and Riding School all in one. That's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And then, of course, you get Spies, Royal Mint, and then you get Wignacourt Aqueduct. This is kind of an interesting one. Okay, alright. Wignacourt Aqueduct. Mills become cheaper, and villagers gather food faster from them. Now, this is yet again another Wars of Liberty card reference, Wignacourt Aqueduct. This is actually a really popular one because, of course, it made the mills cheaper, faster to build, and it gave you improved gather rate from them. But here, I think they took out the faster building time in favor of making the gather rate better. So the gather rate improvement is actually stronger than refrigeration. So yeah, it's good to see yet another Wars of Liberty Maltese card making a return into the Knights of St. John. And then we get refrigeration, we get textile mill, we get 2 St. John galleys, we get Corso galleys, ships 2 St. John galleys, improve St. John galley attack and hit points. I can't remember if this was a Wars of Liberty card. I don't think it was. Naval Gunners, that's certainly a good card to have access to. Armored Pistoliers, good mercenary fitting for the Civ. Giant Grenadiers, I like that Mercs. Panders, also useful, a good anti-skirm. And then Mercenary Loyalty. And now we finally move on to Age 4. So now in Age 4, we get a bunch of different cards. Food. We get shipping supplies. This is a card from the Definitive Edition Multi-Civ carried over into the Knights of St. John again. So that's a useful card you could probably use a lot of the time. Advanced Balloon. Maltese Cross. Veteran and Guard upgrades for unique Knights of St. John units become 50% cheaper. So this is another card from Wars of Liberty Malta, only the effect is a lot different, like a lot different. So in Wars of Liberty's multi-civ, this card was available in Age 2, and instead of this effect, it basically made all the Maltese units, except for of course the common ones like artillery, 25% cheaper. I think it was like 25% cheaper. It was like a really insane discount. But it added a faith cost to them when religion was a thing, right? So, of course, we don't have religion in that sense in Age of the World. So, yeah, an effect like this goes a long way too, I guess. I think it's certainly good if you're doing a fast industrial and you're, you just want to get to that industrial age first and then upgrade the stuff later for super cheap costs. After that, we get more military cards. We get Ranswers, Arbalesters, Bowmen. We get more Footmen. Now this card here, Congress Battalions. Knights of St. John unique units are 15% cheaper. This is another Wars of Liberty Malta reference card. I'm going to keep saying that, I think, because we keep running into more and more Easter eggs. And it's actually really good. I mean, when Cato said he wanted this civ to be very closely related to the Wars of Liberty Malta civ, he was not joking at all. He put actual card references from there all over the place. And this indeed was the effect of that card too. It made units cheaper. Now, one effect that the Wars of Liberty card had that you don't see here is it also allowed you to train said units in blocks of 10 instead of 5. So, yeah, the same effect, of course, is that Japanese isolation technology from the consulate. So, we don't have that effect anymore, but you still get a cheapened price of the units here. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Then you get Footmen. Order of the Knights Hospitalier. Instantly improves your Footmen to Hospitalier and allows them and Morgan Black to build a unique version of the field hospital that can heal nearby units and train Hospitalier. The Grand Hospital will also produce Hospitalier automatically. So this card here is actually another Wars of Liberty reference card. Now, yep, I recognize the icon from it. I can't remember if that's the exact same name of it. I think it was. Now, in Wars of Liberty, this card had a very different effect. It basically allowed your explorer to train longswordsmen. Basically, like the ultimate fort-only unit. And that was pretty big back then because, of course, you only had access to like one fort at any time. So the fact that wherever your explorer went, he could add more longswordsmen to the front lines, that was pretty good. Pretty useful. So, but of course, since there's no longswordsman in this Knights of St. John design, he had to come up with a different effect. And seems like there's a lot of stuff going on here. And I feel like this is going to be a really powerful late game card that you can use. So, looking forward to it. And now we get this card to the next of it, Gran Soccorso. Gran Soccorso. Temporarily increase the speed of your units and grants you 1 footman for every 3 minutes of game length up to 30 minutes. 10 maximum. This is the exact same card we see in Wars of Liberty again with the Multiciv. Same effects too, it does exactly the same thing. In Wars of Liberty it made the units faster for a time period, and it gave you a number of the longswordsmen, not the footmen. But since longswordsmen, footmen, sort of one and the same thing here, they just give you footmen. Pretty good. And then we get cards of hoop throwers. We get cards of knights, Cranaquiners, falconets, culverins, grand culverins. Culverins become more effective against artillery. About 1.25 against artillery, an additional multiplier. This is another Wars of Liberty card. They had access to this and it had the exact same effect too. Another Easter egg to Wars of Liberty, and we keep getting them. This is great. This is really great. Now these siege rams, sturdy siege unit that moves slowly and deals massive damage to buildings, can also garrison a small number of units or infantry for protection. This is actually really good, because remember, the siege ram was indeed a unit in the Wars of Liberty multi-civilization. Yeah, exactly. But what it didn't do was it didn't let you garrison units inside, which of course was the thing from Age of Empires 2. You could put infantry inside to make it move faster, basically. Hopefully they do that here, where the ram will move faster if you have infantry in it. If not, just being able to stick your units in it while it's moving, pretty useful stuff. So yeah, I see this being a pretty good thing, and I like in this case how they actually made the siege ram more like Age of Empires 2 than even the one in Wars of Liberty. That's pretty neat. Add the whole garrison mechanic to it. That's pretty nice. And then of course we get the other well-known multi-siege unit from Wars of Liberty, the Trebuchet. Archaic, I think that's misspelled a bit. Artillery that is extremely effective against buildings and strong but inaccurate against units. Yeah, exactly the same as the Treb in Wars of Liberty's multiciv. It could attack units, it could attack buildings, but when it comes to units, of course it's going to miss, because that's the way Trebs worked in AoE 2, right? They didn't have the best accuracy, but boy did they do damage when they hit. And they had that long range. That's exactly what these things are going to do here. They're like a different type of mortar, if you will. Yeah, exactly. You get an infinite shipment, Trebs, team Trebs, so you get Trebs to everyone. Now, this is a bit of a different setup than Wars of Liberty. So, in Wars of Liberty, what they got instead of an infinite and a team card was, they got them merged together. It was one infinite team, one trebuchet. So, you could basically send allies one trebuchet infinite times from the home city, right? So, it's like it was like a permanent siege option you could give to your friends, basically. Yeah. Pretty useful, right? And then, improved buildings, castramentation. You definitely didn't get that in the Wars of Liberty multi-civilization, so now you can get up to, what, 3 forts now? A lot more useful than 1, so I mean, those footmen are going to have a lot more work to do, and they're going to have a lot more map control, because you're not going to have to keep deleting forts as much to put down new forts on new battlefields. Right, if you're dealing with a team of 3, you only need to put down 1 fort to deal with them on each area. That's pretty good, you know. That means that you can deal with all the players equally, and you can control that area, and you don't have to keep lowering your defenses in different areas of the map just so you can get a fort down in another area. Now, I'm going to have to check, and from what it looks like, maybe you're going to be able to make the Trebs from Artillery Foundry since they're a replacement to the Moor, but maybe not. Maybe he kept that integrity part in. And if he did, that's totally fine. It's totally okay. So now after that, we move to the right factory. You only get 1 factory here. I think the Wars of Liberty multis got 2 factories, so it's a bit of a change. But as you know, the multis in Definitive Edition only get 1 factory, so it's pretty accurate to that description. This, Sacra Infirmia. Sacra Infirmaria heals all your units immediately. The Grand Hospital becomes available 1 age earlier and provides new medical technologies. First aid training, emergency response, herbology, and vaccination. This is not only a reference to the card from Wars of Liberty, but it's a reference to the old Hospital of Wars of Liberty, the one that actually had technologies in it. What are hospitals now in the Great War Age patch? These big useless buildings that just heal units around them. Like, come on, man, who's ever going to put this in their deck? Like, seriously. But in those days, back then, hospitals very useful buildings because they gave you all sorts of improvements. They gave you improvements to hit points, improvements to population, to gathering, to herdable fattening time, to herdable gathering. There was just also, I think, to unit costs at one point, yeah, towards the end. So this referenced two Wars of Liberty things in one. Now, in Wars of Liberty, what this card did here, with the exact same icon, was it basically took all those hospital technologies that were available at the hospital and made them available at the field hospital, you know, the little tent building. So that way, even if somebody sniped your hospital with, like, spies or something in stealth, you could still plop up a bunch of these field hospitals and get the text on there. Or you could even queue multiple ones up at the same time with multiple field hospitals. So this is a really good effect for that. And now we got St. John's Galleys, Gunboat Diplomacy. That's a card multiple Cids get. We get a Mediterranean Mercenary Army. Seen that before. Royal Horseman. Lizzie's flagship. Lizzie arrives with the mighty battleship and some of her buccaneers. That's pretty good. Pretty good reference to the campaign of the Knights of St. John. One infinite battleship. And then for natives, you basically get pirate allies to perfectly represent the campaign. So there we have it. We've basically seen, just by looking at these cards and looking at the units in the roster that we've been able to perceive so far, that this is indeed highly influenced by Wars of Liberty's multi-civilization. Now, from what I read from the description of the Civ, there are a lot of differences, so it's not like he copy and pasted the whole thing. You know, he took the unit names and the unit roles sometimes, took a lot of the cards, and then he just made it into his own thing, which I think is great. I think it is. Really is impressive. So what we're going to do now is we are going to build a deck that we're going to use when we play against the AI. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make like a... Can we use this deck? Beginner? Ah, we can use beginner. It's fine. Let's start from top to finish and figure out what we want. So, 3 settlers, pretty standard. We want that, of course. Capitalism, I could see that being used. Wood and coin, start with the basics, get the factory in there. Get the wood in there too. Now this I would definitely get this like I would in wool, just because it makes your mills cheaper. And it's quite useful to do so. Royal mint and refrigeration. Okay. Let me just see here. Alright, so now wait a second. Can you give me a couple of seconds? I gotta go do something real quick. I'll be right back. We'll finish up this deck in just a jiffy. While you're waiting, maybe you want to go back and see the descriptions I did of the cards again, just so you're aware of what they do and my commentary on them. Got a lot of stuff to do today, so yeah, a lot of Malta to go over. sorry for the delay. Hopefully you were able to go back and see any cards you were confused about in the Home City review I was doing. So let's continue where we left off. Where I left off, I basically add the Aqueducts card in, as well as the basic H3 Eco cards, Royal Mint, and Refrigeration. So from there, let's look at some other stuff we might be able to use. So, Swordsman Combat, that's a must. I always had these in my Malta decks. Also this one, Military Engineering. I always loved the Footmen in Wars of the Liberty Malta, and I think based on the role that we're given here, we're probably going to use it again, so I'm definitely getting that as well. Now, one more thing I'm going to do in relation to that, I'm going to pick this fort shipment here, as well as Castramentation, because I want to max out the number of forts I can construct. That, to me, sounds really useful. Also, I'm going to pick up the Sacra Infirmia. That sounds really good. Order of the Knights Hospitalier, because that does a lot of special stuff for you. And what else are we going to pick up? Maybe some unit shipments so we don't die. Arbalesters look fine. Ransomers, sure. Maybe some footmen. I don't think we need too much stuff, but I want to try this out. That looks decent. Gotsitan Nation. If we're going to use Convert, we may as well get that. In terms of training, we really don't need fencing and riding school just because we can use Squires, which adds 2 in 1 pretty much. What else do we need? What else could we possibly use here? This right here, 3 cities. That actually looks pretty useful because that gives us towers as well, gives us another build limit for it. That could be pretty useful to us. What else can we use? Not this, not this. Yeah, if we get to that far in the game, I would say probably Congress Battalions. You know, another common Wars of Liberty card makes its use again here. You know, I think with this, maybe we got a decent chance at defense. Instead of like cannons or units in H3, we can just ship in the towers and unique town center equivalent. If we need to, we can also ship in the fort. So we can defend that way, you know. And then if we have to build a second fort, just use the footmen to do it. Then in H3, just get another fort. Then you have a really good defense going. So yeah, I think this is basically a decent sketch. But before we do like any serious like gameplay stuff, I basically want to just go over the units and just look at the stats with you. And see how it looks basically. So to do that, all I'm really going to do is, I'm going to go like skirmish. And I'm just going to pick like a... I'm going to go to like Caribbean, I think. I want to go on to Orceylon. One of these places. I'll go to... Let me think. Caribbean gives me more landmass, right? So yeah, let's do Caribbean. I basically want to pick a landmass where the AI isn't going to destroy me at the beginning, and I can run some cheat codes so we can build out these units super quick and look at them. Yeah, definitely. So let's do that. AI, probably just stick it on, I don't know, easy. We want it to be easy. Yeah, let's put it on easy. Hopefully we don't get any excess errors or anything. Alright, so we're loading in fine. That's good. And now we're... Oh, look at this town center design. This is already looking defensive with like the big tower structure coming out of the top there. Who's that? The Oyo. Oh, so that's the Yoruba. I've never played against their AI before, so... I guess just leave these villas here because we're gonna send a whole lot of love. 10k resources each, and then speed always wins. So that way text research instantly. Boom. Alright. So let's look at the age-up options while we're here. And here's Morgan Black, by the way. He was actually the explorer in the Wars of Liberty Maltese as well. He just wasn't called Morgan Black. He was you know, just an explorer with his skin and voice, basically. So these are the age-up options. So they all look... Wait a second. This is the Knight of Devotion. This is actually an age-up politician from Wars of Liberty used again. 1 extra chapel wagon and plus 1... Oh, 1 extra chapel wagon plus 1 chapel build limit. So this is exactly the same as the Wars of Liberty politician, only this time you actually get an increased build limit of the church too. So that's actually kind of an improvement. So from what I understand, with each age up you get a chapel wagon, which is basically just a church. But with that politician you can get 2 of them. Now from what I understand, you basically, the XP trickle rate is actually somewhat less than that of the, yeah, it's the trickle rate, and also kind of ignore the gather rate too. When you use speed always wins, it also increases the gather rate from stuff. So normally it would probably be like 0.35 or something. And I'm just starting to look at this castle structure of the town center. This is honestly a pretty good design here. Back in Wars of Liberty Malta, they didn't have these unique models for like any of the buildings, you know, it was just like standard southern Mediterranean, like Ottoman, Spanish, sort of that design. So it's good to see them getting some actual good artwork in terms of their buildings here. And then let's make some of their units. Barrack Stable looks pretty close to southern Mediterranean, probably because that's what the buildings look like in the campaign, so he probably wanted to keep some consistency with that. So these are the units. Arbalester. Here goes the Arbalester. Looks a lot like a crossbowman, but a little bit different looking. So these are the stats. Stats are 1.25 against heavy infantry, 2.50 against light cavalry. So pretty similar to that of a actual crossbowman. Yeah, definitely. So that's good. Now I want to see in more detail how it fires out 2 shots. I didn't quite catch that there. Oh yeah, so it does fire out 2 shots. That's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's going to keep trying to fight ranks. You might want to test him a little later. Yeah, just let him be. Is he still running around with injury? What's he doing? Anyways, let's... Bowman, so literally the longbowman icon. It is actually not inaccurate from Wars of Liberty since, yeah, that the longbowmen from the Maltese Wars of Liberty have also had the longbow icon, so that's actually not too different, actually. Probably one of the few areas where it actually matches for now. So the stats of the longbowmen. So the stats of longbowmen. 1.25 against heavy infantry, 2.5 against light cavalry. So what's the difference exactly? So crossbowman fires multiple times but only has 16 range. Longbowman has some more HP, more armor, and more range. So really they're quite similar, only this is better when you're going up against musketeers probably. Longbowmen probably have more application against like longer range archers. Oh yeah, and the other thing too, of course the bow archer is going to fire quicker than a crossbow that has to, you know, put the bolt back in his crossbow. So yeah, the bow unit's obviously going to be quicker. And now we're going to add another unit in, the Ransor. So this is what they... so these Ransors, they look almost like the ones from Wars of Liberty, only they hold their polearm up like a musket pretty much. They don't hold it down like the pikeman does. So statistically, 12 damage, 4x against cavalry, so of course that's 2 multipliers less than the Wars of Liberty Ransor. But the attack, I think, is somewhat higher, if I recall. Yeah, so it's going to be better against, like, heavy infantry when you're going up against them, honestly. And now we're going to look at the 4th unit, the footman. So the footman looks almost like a doppelganger, yeah. Does it have a shield? No, it doesn't have a shield, so it's actually closer to the Maltese longswordsman from Wars of Liberty. And statistically, it is 1 pop, splash, anti-cav. So 2 splash, 3x against cav. So yeah, it's basically like a more spammable version of the Doppel. Yeah, it's actually cheaper too, so that's good. So you'll be able to mass these up a lot. And then of course if you send military engineering, you can oh, so they only build barracks, stables, and foundries. They can't build saloons and they can't drop forts on people. That's unfortunate. Hopefully he does some work to that so they can build some forts. That would be a pretty useful thing. And it wouldn't be an OP thing either, because the Sentinels and the Definitive Edition multi-civ can actually build forts as well, so maybe he should consider having that add. And at the stable, we got the two units here, the Kranichweiner and the Hussar. So it looks like the model has been made for the Kranichweiner. It has its crossbow. So statistically, yeah, it's an early Dragoon pretty much, so you can get an AIDS too. So yeah, this might be useful when you're getting raided by Hussars, honestly. You can spam out a bunch of these from a stable. So yeah, let's try see how they work. Yep, the animation looks good, just the same as Wars of Liberty. And now we're going to add the Knights in. So here's the Knights. Knights, about 325 HP. It looks a lot less than the Knights in like the older, like 12B for instance, in Wars of Liberty 12B. There, I think the HP was like 550 or 600 or something. Here, they're only 325. Hand attack. Hand attack's the same as the Wars of Liberty Knight, though. And then, of course, they increase build bounty. So how does that work? So, I don't think there's a good test to prove that, but I'll just sort of take their word on that for now, I guess. That they help improve the kill bounty nearby. I wonder if it improves like buildings nearby. No, it does not, unfortunately. So now we're going to age up again. So what are the age up options here? So you actually do get a mercenary contractor option that gives you armored pistoliers and cannoneers. So this is actually looking like a really strong mercenary civ, because you got our Burgies giving you the Swiss pike and the Lanach, and then you get mercenary contractor giving you the cannoneers and the pistoliers for ranged action. So this is looking like a decent mercenary civ if you want to use them that way. But then you get this unit here, the Serving Brother. I don't think I've saw the Serving Brother in the original Wars of Liberty multi-civ. No, so this is something new. It gives you about 700 coin. Pretty standard stuff, but nice looking icon nonetheless. Another chapel that we can put down. And then, let's see here. Oh, the Priori. I'm trying to remember. I think I remember seeing the Priori in the... Yep, the Priori was in the Wars of Liberty multi-civ. He gave you longswordsmen instead of archers. Here he gives you archers, and that one he gave you longswordsmen. And then here, the Hospitalier General. Crates of 1k wood and 4 footmen. This is actually the same effect as the Politician in Wars of Liberty. Exactly the same effect. 4 footmen infantry and 1k wood. So let's go up with him. That is looking like a good option. Another chapel. And then for Imperial Age, we get the Great Commander and the Paladin. So the Great Commander and the Paladin were options for aging up to the Imperial Age as the multi-civ. Back then, though, you still only had 2 options for Imperial Age age-up, so literally your only options back then were, again, the Great Commander and the Paladin. So the Paladin icon was a lot different than the Paladin icon you see here. The Paladin icon there looked more or less like this portrait. So yeah, it's neat that they found a new one for it. But the effect, though, was actually quite similar. Because in the Wars of Liberty multi-civ, you know, Great Commander did give you 2k coin, and then the Paladin gave you miscellaneous military units. So in that, I think he gave you Warhammers, Longbowmen, Footmen, and Ransewers. Here it's Ransewers, Hoop Throwers, and Bowmen. So you get the Archer component, you get the Spear component, but you don't get the Footmen or Warhammers. So it's a bit different. And we're going to go up with him, I think, so we can look at the stats of the Hoop Thrower. So, Hoop Thrower here. Where's the Hoop Thrower? Here they are. Here they are. What's that multiplier? What's that multiplier exactly to the right of heavy? I see heavy, I see light range cavalry, heavy cavalry, hand shock infantry, artillery. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that is exactly, that little, like, graphic there. Maybe Janissaries, who knows? And then after that, we can, upgrading work here. Just see what they look like. Hospitalier. So how's this work? Enables deflection. Oh yeah, these guys get basically abilities similar to the armored pistoliers, where they absorb some of the damage you do to other units when they're nearby. It's not as strong as like the armored pistolier does, but it can still be pretty useful for you when you're trying to attack. Right? And then of course, as you age up, same thing at done to these. Ransor, so it adds extra range to their melee. That's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And then, now this is something that I remember from Cato's stuff in the server. He said that this would be one of the first civs in Age of the World that would actually see graphics changes as they were upgraded. And yes, indeed, as you've seen here, these units are actually changing visually as you're upgrading them. This is very different than the past when these units, you know, they stayed the same throughout the game the way they looked. This is going to add another level of complexity to the mod to make it look a lot better in the end. Yeah, it definitely is. And, Footman, where are you, Footman? Put down Artillery Foundry. Let's see if they have all the siege options there or not. Oh, wow. Grand Hospital. This is the same hospital icon from, Wars of Liberty. Yeah. And they used the Wars of Liberty and Napoleonic Basilica model to make the hospital. That's pretty smart, because you know the Basilica in the Italian Civ and D is so much bigger, so why not use the little one from the old game as the hospital here to look more Maltese looking? That's pretty nice. Ambulance wagons, a mobile version of the field hospital. I actually like these a lot better than the field hospitals you get in the original game, because at least you can move them with you, and you don't have to keep deleting them and building them on the front lines. When you want to go up and heal something, you just plow these things forward. When you want to retreat, you just pull them back. It's a lot more useful for you. So that is actually pretty nice. You know, that's pretty good to see. And in terms of siege here, yeah, you can get the trebs at the foundry as well, so you do not need a fort to do that. And that's pretty nice. I mean, it's a little less authentic to the AoE 2 feel, but seeing as Cato is going more in the AoE 3 direction, that's totally fine. And then the fort can make just about everything, you know, they can make the rams as well, so they can make all the siege weapons. So he did stay true and blue to letting you make the siege weapons there. That's pretty nice. And we put down another, do they get a, how do they get their, like, so this is the same. Where do they get, like, late game technologies? Oh, they get them through here. Let me get myself some more resources. A whole lot of, more. Alright. So now we want some population, right? So we can do some stuff. So these are the chaplains. How do they look? So the chaplains, they look actually unique. I can see the little Maltese Knights of St. John cross on their robes. That's pretty cool. Then they get the convertibility, so they can convert Woloyu. Oh, he killed him before he even did. That's unfortunate. But I'm sure if you move up a little bit, you could probably convert all these guys here, if there's a lot of them. How does it work if you use it on multiple people, though? Do they all have to rest? Yeah. Oh, so it's just like monks in AoE 2. So if you have multiple converters, then they all have to heal, have to recharge their ability. Alright, makes sense. That's pretty good. And then, now we're going to get the... Let's try this one out, Sacra Infirmia. I want to see how that looks. So, what technologies do you actually get at the hospital for that? So, first aid training allows units to slowly recover HP when idle. So, basically, screams German right there. Vaccination. All short-duration units such as ESO riders, militiamen, or regulars keep 20% of their HP and lose them less quickly. So they become like more permanent units that you can use to a larger extent. Herbology. I think this might have been a card from the Wars of Liberty multi-civ, but it dealt more with food economy. Here it slightly improves the hit points of all units, 5%. That's one of the effects of the hospital text from Wars of Liberty, so that's quite similar. Then you get emergency response. Greatly increases the speed of ambulance wagons. So these, how do they move now? When we move them. A lot quicker. Yeah, a lot faster. In the old Wars of Liberty hospital, what you did was you'd ring the hospital bell and then they'd send a group of surgeons out for a quick heal. Here it simply just makes your wagons even more effective because they can move in and out a lot easier of trouble. So now we're gonna make some trebs here. Oh wow, look, they fully intact trebs. At least you don't have to worry about all the funky animations and bone connections modding wise with these things, yeah. And then you get the rams. I like how big the rams are here and how close they look to AoE 2 rams, you know, the cap ones. And do they change when we upgrade them, by any chance? Let me see, cap ram. So, siege ram attack and hit points increase and allows them to garrison more units. Oh wow, it adds the Maltese Cross and then Imperial upgrade. Not too much. How about the trebs? How did the trebs change when we do stuff to them? Counterweight trebuchets. Alright, so how these... Let's see these in action. This is what I think you want to see, folks. Ooh, they go right for the throw. Ooh, there you go. Not bad, not bad, all these stats. Barrage attack versus the siege bombard attack. Not bad. And then, yeah, you can throw... Does it improve the speed at all by any chance? It does not, but maybe that's something you can do. We can make the rams move faster if you garrison units inside. And you, of course, can let them out. Oh, that's pretty nice. That's pretty useful. And then, what else can you do? What else can we get? This, Order of Knights Hospitalier. So, what does this look like? This new, like, healing building. Hospital. Oh, so it looks like the actual, field hospital that can train more swordsmen and surgeons. So you get the old hospitals and the new hospitals. Yeah, and then of course this starts making units for free now, so there's that. Ah, this is pretty good looking. I like this. I like this Civ. It's both Wars of Liberty-like, and it has its own unique style. I like this style. It's really nice. Works out really good. And then we're going to look at the Navy, I think, afterwards and see how that looks. And we can try this as well, maybe. Let's look at the text as well from the Arsenal. Alright, so here's the... Oh no, we need some houses, because in too many free swords. So this is what the fishing ship looks like. Yeah, and then, oh no, I got the... I get... See how it works. Do they get like a little ring around them when they're gathering or something to let them know, hey, when we group you guys up, we're gonna start gathering there? Oh yeah, look, I can see the map improving as the ships stand nearby to each other. This is pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And then, well, if we move these away. No, I think they have, yeah, you'd see the number difference when you move ships away from the area. That's some pretty good accuracy right there in terms of feature. And then, St. John's Galley. Yep, looks campaign worthy. You get the galleon, you get the frigate, and the monitor. So all standard navy for Europe. But they do get the cross, the cross on their sails, which is pretty accurate. Yeah, I'm liking the way this Civ is looking, honestly. And then, oh, he's going for the attack now. I don't think I would attack right now, my friend. Let me get... Do I have the priest nearby by any chance? I don't think I'm gonna need him though, because they're basically doing the work for me at this point. The Navy here. Yeah, took care of that. So let's look at the arsenal. I want to see what the techs do exactly, the new ones. Let's get the arsenal built. Alright, so chainmail, archaic infantry plus 10 hit points. So it's like another infantry breastplate. Piercing arrows. Archer units do more damage to heavy infantry. It's +1 against... So it's just like counter infantry rifling, only it's accustomed to archer units. That is great, because that means these archers become more relevant the longer you are in the game. Yeah, these archers end up becoming real solid assets to your army. And then, reinforced arrowheads, archers deal more damage. 15% more damage. So exactly this... You know what? These are basically medieval versions of the advanced arsenal technologies, these ones. So... Cato didn't really change the effects at all, he just changed the way they looked to make them feel more medieval and more knight-like. And that's pretty neat. It really is. What's this one? Light quivers. Increases the movement speed of archer units. Oh, that's pretty good. That's one thing that we did not get from the original advanced arsenal. So that's pretty good. Yeah, these archers move quicker. I like that. I like that. Pretty good. Good stuff. And you still get the Falcons and the Culverins. What about Petards? What do you get for Petards? Do the Petards look any different, or do they look like normal ones? Yeah, they look like old school Petards, and yeah. So, what do you think? I think this is pretty good. I mean, and then let's see how cheap they look when you get this. Yeah, they look a lot cheaper. So what you want to do now? You want me to just like take an army of these and run them at the enemy? See what happens? Yeah, let's do that. Let's board the bunch of these on the boats and then sail the 7 seas at this point. I mean, I don't think we're going to do very good because the enemy's of course going to spawn in really quickly and stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind. Oh no, get in the boat. Get in the boat. Can you get the trebs in the boat? We ran out of space. We ran out of space, didn't we? So what are we going to do about that? Do we have to get more of these? Yeah, I think you do. I think you just have to get more ships then. Alright, so let's pour these things into the boat. Get these boats out here. Limp on it. Leave my navy alone, man. I'm trying to board some ships here and he's really aggroing me. I'm just spamming boats at you till you leave me alone. Seriously. Come on. Come on, man. Seriously. Why is this boat so powerful? I want to know. What's up with it? Hey, he's literally barring his army like he is the Navy, like right here. Jeez. Get boats out here. I'm gonna fire them. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this and get some control. Yeah, he's content on keeping this water over here. I'm like, no, just get out of here. Get out of this. You don't belong here. Get out. Trying to do something. You're ruining it. Get out of here. Out of the way. This ship's out of here. He's finally gonna... No, he's still sending Navy here. Oh, because we're close to the island. Okay. That makes sense. So I'm gonna throw these siege weapons. So... I mean, yeah, you can throw siege weapons. Yeah. So what do you do? Can you garrison units inside the rams and throw them into the boat too? How's that work? That's pretty cool. This might be a cool trick here again. Oh yeah, you could throw the units taken by the ram. Oh wow, can you actually increase the number of infantry you can put in one boat by stuffing them in the rams first? That's a good question actually. I think you can. Honestly, I think that's how it works. Yep. These people. Yeah. Let's go. Go in the land and see how they do. Got the full brigade coming in. Let's do this. Let's get these. Get on top of them. This is his base right here. Yeah. Here it is. The land's going. I don't think he's gonna know what's gonna hit him at this point. Oh, he's just sending a bunch of warriors at him now. Oh yeah, let's get the Rams going. Oh yeah, look at these infantry just obliterated. This is really good stats. Really good stats here. And we can of course put the barracks down, now we put the town center. Oh yeah, this is looking good. And then we make sure we can upgrade. And we can upgrade a bit. Yeah, I guess what we're gonna do at this point. Why don't we just unload everyone at this point? There we go. Lay on the ground. There we go. Yeah. Absolutely. Look. This is a lot of damage. This is great. Can you take these guys and convert it like here? Can you convert maybe with these yeah, we can. Try to convert them. Try it. Oh yeah, you need to do a cooking though. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little environmental degradation right there. Destroying the forest with the battering ram. And now we're gonna... Oh yeah, I got more swords in here. I can just throw on the front lines, yeah. Get them up here. Take out his docks. I feel like them will be in good shape. Oh yeah, we got the Trebs here. Why don't we just use the Trebs to take down the ships? Trebs are probably really good at that, these Caraway Trebs. I'm just gonna look for more like civilians up here, and then I'm just throwing the Trebs down. Oh yeah, I mean...
The Yoruba are everywhere!
The Yoruba are everywhere. Your victory today does not mean our defeat, but today we wish to surrender. I mean, you're really doing with the Maltese and the Knights of St. John. What can you do? I mean, they only drink from the fountain of youth. You can't deal with that. Can you? Can you? That was fun. So now what we're going to do is the last step. We're going to try like a real match against an AI. I'm not going to make it too hard because I want to actually win it and do it on a land map. But I just want to try it with you so you can see how well they do in like an actual gameplay situation. So we'll just do moderate. Don't have to go too hard. Just right in the middle. Like Goldilocks, you know. Not too hot, not too cold. And we'll try them on a... do them on Mendocino, right? Liga map. Or we can do them on Hudson Bay. Say, do you have Hudson Bay in D? No Hudson Bay. Alright, we'll do Mendocino then. Mendocino. Wait a second. Did they not get Mendocino either on this? What maps do you get here? I'm looking around seeing... So this is Tripolitania, this isn't Jebel Musa anymore. I'm just trying to get used to like these maps here and seeing... I'm really gonna have to scroll through to see what that would be called and if it's here, of course. Ozarks, Muscovy, Lithuania, Lake Chad. Don't want to go Lake Virgin. I'll look for something that's appropriate. You know, this looks Dakota. This looks like Mendocino. I'm going with that. I don't think the AI matters at all. I just want to like play a game, see how it looks. Yeah, that's all. I don't mind keeping on fast either because I'm playing against an AI. So yeah. So we're gonna play it pretty normally here, and we queue up Billy. Go Morgan Black. Let's get the bison in. Hunt the... Gather the... I can't actually hear the sound of the voice sets, by the way. I'm assuming they're speaking Maltese from the DLC, so yeah, I'm just gonna make that assumption. And of course, Morgan Black with his good Scottish lines. Major Shin, McCain of us in the picture. Name mission. Stop the disher. Good ball. Alright, house going down. Keep the villas going up. I think we're gonna completely destroy this AI, honestly. AI doesn't stand a chance, man. I'm like a demigod with Malta. It was one of my most signature sibs from the old Wars Liberty version was the multi-sib. I always used them. I used them so well I got them banned in the World Jamboree that time against Maxi. Probably still fuming over that. Oh yeah, I went totally Arbalest on him and he didn't even know what to do. Like, those Arbalests were insane. You couldn't deal with them. Totally insane. Totally insane. So this is basically Mendocino in Definitive Edition. Interesting. I like too here that Morgan Black is a hand unit, you know, and in Wars of Liberty that Morgan Black looking explorer was basically just like an ordinary Euro explorer. He had a gun and he shot at stuff. Here he just swings his sword around like a true knight. That's his food, his comida, and then we can age up. I will probably get Quartermaster because it's like a standard thing for playing competitive. Or really any game. I mean, 400 wood, you can do so much with it. You can build 2 trading posts, you can get barracks and 2 houses, stable and 2 houses, barracks in the stable, barracks in the barracks, stable and stable. There's so much you can do with 400 wood. It's really nice. And then let's try to get the market up as well. I'd like to get some like technologies if all possible. I know we're playing a bit fast here, but you know, let's be a little bit greedy, you know, so we can end up outproducing our opponent. That's the point of the market after all. You know, outproducing your opponent. They're busy trying to deal with pretty generic gather rates, and you got hunting dogs, placer mines, all those wonderful techs active. Alright, get the food going. Yum yum yum. Okay. Now we're gonna capitalism because you know, we're probably gonna get our next shipment pretty quick anyways because we got a chapel trickling us some XP. Let's wait for that to finish up. So in normal mode, gather rates, yeah, like I predicted, 0.35. And then we're gonna get some more wood, probably. I'm going for blood this game, by the way. I'm not going to show any mercy and go back and forth, whatever. That's why I showed you the game before, because I wanted to go full toe-to-toe with this AI and not pull back at all. If I can beat him now with like a bunch of spam, I will. I will go after him and take him out, basically. So let's try it. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, this AI might be too easy. Maybe he's... Nah, he just aged up. Never mind. Never mind, he just aged up. Hopefully he has something there when I get there, though. That'd be pretty sad if I completely wrecked him right now and shreked him out of the swamp. That'd be pretty bad looking. Steel traps. That's a good one. Why not get gang saw at this point? I mean, spam everything in our disposal. Yep, get lots of pikers, or ransors, as they're called here. Got the footmen. Oh yeah, filling up a decent force here. I'm gonna add a little bit of archers in. You know, we probably want a couple of bow units in. Oh yeah, one more thing we should probably do after this game. Let's check out the Royal Decree technologies. I probably should have added that last game, but you know, we can look at that quickly here and see it. It's totally fine. You know, I didn't want this recording to be scripted at all. I wanted it to be totally me just enjoying and exploring stuff for the first time. I didn't want it to be anything that was scripted. You know, I don't like scripting stuff. I never script anything I do, honestly. I hope you understand that. Like if I'm doing like a casted game or a commentary on something or chatting, I never script my stuff. I always do it on the spot. Think on your feet. I feel like, to me, it makes me sound more authentic, more accurate, you know, more true to myself. Instead of trying to sound like something somebody else wants you to sound like, right? Like a politician, basically. I like to stay true to what I believe in and what I say. And, oh yeah, look at these footmen. Absolutely demolishing them. Not even a guess about it. Just totally... nothing they can even do about that. Totally unreal. Yeah, we're way overpowered for this AI. I'm glad that they're at least making an army though to fight us, so it doesn't look too challenging. Yeah. So what do you think? We should go in for attack right away, or should we go capital age and, you know, hit them with some artillery too, or something? I don't know. Like, what would be a good idea? Maybe just ship some pikemen in now, get the crates of coin going, and then beat them in Age 3. So that way we can get a bit of an advantage on them. To me, that sounds good. Yep, this is looking good. The serving brother. Serving brother from another mother. Alright. That. Coin. And then we can build a foundry and go get some siege weapons. Now we're gonna try does it? I think the build limit goes up, right? Once you, yeah, I think so. Just got another one. And then we can actually build on the front lines towards him using this, the military engineering. Yeah, that might be useful. Let's get some of the priests too. Maybe we can convert his stuff. Configure all chapels to increase the production speed of nearby buildings. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was something in the description as well. So basically these churches can also, you know, they can perform different tasks to boost you. They can either do the standard XP trickle, or they can improve something around them, like either villager gather, military training, or villagers' construction speed. So basically these chapels are like the center of your colony pretty much, and they help you do stuff you normally couldn't do. That's pretty neat, isn't it? Priests? Let's get some priests. What's this, by the way? Enlightenment. Grants XP for each technology and shipping you have gone so far and again in the future. If I recall, I thought Enlightenment was something that all the European civs in Age of the World are going to get access to, so that's something to look out for sure. Yeah. I'm just going to get a bunch of... You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get a bunch of I'm just going to get a bunch of... I'm going to go full monkish on them and just try to convert everything. I think that might be fair. Yeah, let me just get a bunch of monks. I'm going to get this too, so the cooldown is like cut by half. Yeah, that sounds perfect. That sounds awfully pleasant for me. I think that's enough priests. Get the job done. I think so. Let's try it. Let's try to convert everything he has, and if not, we'll just throw the military in and take him out right away. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try to do a bunch of conversions here and see how effective it is. I wonder if... Let me see. So, let's try to do some conversions. Yeah, below. It's working. We are converting some stuff. I kind of wish you could just right-click and it was like the range attack and you wouldn't have to do its ability. It'd probably make it like micro-intensive, but whatever. We'll just send our army in and finish them off. Yeah, literally nothing you can do with just regulars. I mean, total massacre here. Yeah, absolute massacre. Convert you. I'll just convert you, right? I can be humanitarian and give you a chance to surrender. Can you convert, Let's see, can you convert wagons? No, you can't convert billies. No, you can't convert billies. I know, yeah, Naoe, too, you can convert billies. You can't do that here. You can actually convert billies in Wars of Libya as well with the voodoo ability conversion, so it's definitely strange not being able to convert that. So how are we doing? Do we need anything else? Any backup? Any forts or anything? Now we're about to defeat him right now. Right here and now. Plantation up. Farm up. Yeah, we're fine. I mean, I think we're generally pretty good here. So the Longbowmen also cost coin, I know, while the Arbs are wood units, so that's the other difference. And if I recall, in the Wars of Liberty mod, the Arbs actually were a coin unit and the Longbowmen were the wood unit. And their statistics were not like this. They were actually meant to be the Age of Empires 2 skirmishers, so they were anti-light infantry and anti-light cavalry, so they were good against like ranged units. Yep, tally-ho! Hit the arrows to the head. Tally-ho! And I think that's about done for him now. Yeah, I'm not even really paying attention to much. I'm just sort of just like destroying them. Nah, just take your arrow pills and go to sleep. More units. Yeah, I mean, we're totally doing good here. Pikemen, swordsmen. Pikemen, swordsmen. Oh yeah, we're doing fine. Not much you can do. Yep. Surrender or die. And you did both. You surrendered, then you died. How do you like that? Alright, so before we leave, let's do one more fun thing. Let's try adding the royal decrees and seeing what they do. I'll just throw out, I don't know, this. We'll throw the RD in, see what it does. If it's fun, we'll keep it. If not, we'll just throw it in the trash. I don't care. I just want to see what it does. Because I always take interest in royal decree technologies for Euro civs, because some of them are pretty powerful, and I want to see if this is something I would actually use. Why don't we start off in, like, I don't know, like the proper age, commerce age. Load, load, load. Load, load, load.
It is good to admit weakness. Perhaps you should just hand yourself over to Cuauhtemoc for sacrifice right now.
Muy rápido. Speed always wins. Cuauhtemoc, so we got vanilla AI. Speed always wins. Churchy. Churchy. Stuff out Churchy next. He's already aggroing me. The spawn knows what he's doing. Alright, so these are the RD texts. So we get Corselet, armored breastplate, increases hit points but reduces the speed of heavy. So this is the same as the Spanish Civ. The Spanish Civ gets this as well. This one, and then what are the other ones? Tax burn, overworking your serfs to meet the silver tax burn. It reduces their health, decreases their hit points, but you get crates of 100 coin for each minute of the game blasted so far. Does that go beyond 30 minutes though? Because if that's the case, we can stick around and find out, because this is on fast speed anyways. So, yeah, maybe we can do that. I'm just gonna get. Hey, I'll just get a bunch of armor to protect myself. Who cares at this point? We're cheating. It doesn't matter. We're cheating. we're not playing by the rules today. Jaguars. Ooh, Jaguars. Jaguars. Let me get some armored pistoliers to deal with that. Stand no chance. Surrender now. Oh yeah, yep. You're not passing with these things. Pass with these things at all. And what do we get now? What do we get now? Yep. Let's go up to age 4. Get some XP. What do you get? So what's the other RD? High Crusade. The Knights of St. John call for a new world crusade. You receive a shipment of 10 hoop throwers from Malta, and all hoop throwers are improved by 20%, including burning damage. So they get the burning damage. Do they get burning damage too? Do they get burning damage? Let me look at that, actually. Let me look at that. They get burn damage. Let's try it on the units and see. We're gonna have to probably do it to something up close, though. Great. Yeah, the bot's already up to Imperial Age. I don't think we're gonna check that tech out entirely, but it's great to know even if it works in like 30 minutes, you know, again, like 3K coins, so I'm a cool thing. But I don't know if it's worth reducing. It does do burn damage though. I'm noticing it does appear to be doing some sort of burn damage to units. It looks short-lived because we're not fast, but it is doing something. So yeah, I feel like let's close off there for right now. This was pretty fun, you know. It's good that Chaos gave me a chance to try this stuff out with you, you know, ahead of time. Hopefully, we get to show you some other stuff too, you know. I scoped out Armenians, Georgians, and the Calusa as well. Right now, I've noticed Armenia and Georgia's cards aren't quite done, so I don't know if they're ready or not. Maybe I'll play around with it at some point and see if they're ready to show at least the structure. But you know what? I'd probably rather just wait till their cards are completed before I show anything like that. Because I want to give you like the full feel of what they look like, especially since the only other reference you got for Georgia and Armenia is the AoE 2 DLC. So hopefully Kados has a bunch of interesting ideas for him. Yeah, hopefully he does. Alright, is everybody good with that? Okay, so there's this big introduction / presentation for you. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you like seeing me do previews like this, let me know. Get involved with the channel and subscribe yourselves if not already. Get your friends to too, you know. I want everybody here. I do stuff nobody else does. And that's not to be taken lightly. I literally do everything. Like every mod you've probably never heard of. So if somebody's into something, I probably got it here. Or I will have it here. Alright, GG. Bye-bye. See you next time. Signing up now. That's what I usually say, right? Yeah, yep, that's right.